Lucas, we'll start with you. You're set?
All good.
All good? Okay. Welcome to Mexico. Clearly frustrated in Santiago. Do you have to put that behind you and just move on to here, or are there things you can learn or things you will do differently?
In Spanish or English?
No, in English.
English.
Okay, yeah.
Well, first, it's a pleasure to be back in Mexico. I think one of the best Formula E races we have here, especially because of the public. I have great memories from the passionate Mexican people here at the stadium. Probably the only place in motorsport that you can hear the crowd cheering while driving. It's only with Formula E and here in Mexico. And yeah, after a frustrating Santiago, actually very frustrating, we're trying to come back to a track which has suited us very well in the past, and we try to get a good result.
How do you look at the car that Audi have provided you this year? When you look across at Envision Virgin, who are leading the championship, does that give you motivation, or does that frustrate you that you're not there leading it?
Of course, the Audi Sport drivetrain is it's extremely good and has proven to do so. But you have much more competition this year. Everybody is actually good. We don't have the same advantage we had last year, I would say. So you need to get everything right. And so far, especially myself, I haven't had a smooth beginning of the season. Pace is there, race pace, qualifying pace. We've seen that it's quite good, but we haven't managed to put it together, and that's Formula E. Last year we've seen exactly that with Renault and Techeetah. Techeetah was a customer team, and they beat the manufacturer. In Formula E, of course, the drivetrain is very important, but it's extremely important to put everything together. Do not do any mistake during the race day. So I'm happy for Virgin leading the championship and Bird being competitive, but just shows that we can do the same and motivates us even more to beat them and the others all together.
Okay, great, thank you. Nelson, moving on to you. How have you found the first few races of Generation 2 of Formula E, having been the first champion, of course?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good to be back in Mexico. It's been interesting. I mean, for sure, before the championship started, I didn't expect that the race wouldn't be so much about efficiency and more about performance. Because this year, obviously, the three first races, efficiency didn't play such a big part of the game compared to the first four seasons. So, I think there's a lot of teams that perhaps invested a lot of time and resources in terms of to be efficient and everything they could, and maybe forgot a little bit about the performance part. And I think this year it played a big game. Qualifying well is very important. Obviously there's going to be some races where the chance of safety car maybe a bit lower. Perhaps this race over here is probably the track the whole season that might have the lowest chance of safety cars. So it might change a little bit the pace of the race over here. But I think in general, it's showing that efficiency has lost a bit of the percentage of the importance of a race weekend, I would say. Performance has gained a big percentage this year. So that's interesting because it's going to change a lot on the development of the cars and where the team are going to focus their resources.
That's interesting. The attack mode here, the activation zone on the inside of turns 8 and 9. What do you make of that? How difficult is that going to be to activate?
Well, it's the same for everybody. I mean, I think it's well, not similar, but I mean, it's kind of the same case as Riyadh. It's kind of an inside of a corner, but in this case, we're coming from a much slower corner instead of coming from a quick corner before. So I don't think it's going to be much of a drama, let's say. It doesn't seem like you're going to lose a position as well, but you might lose quite a bit of time getting in, and then the next corner, because you're going to be in the inside, probably you're going to be in the dirt, you're going to lose time. So depending on, obviously, how many activations we're going to have, it's going to be pretty important, because the time you're going to lose to get it might be the time to recover to catch the car in front of you. So it's a bit tricky at the moment to understand, but hopefully they change a little bit. The first three races they had only 2 activations, and I'm pretty sure they're going to want to spice things up over here, and they're going to make it interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. But yes, it seems to be fun.
Cool, thank you. Sébastien, moving on to you. Santiago, yeah, what happened? Do you know what happened now, or did you know straight away then?
Yeah, I know. It's of course a shame what happened already in FP1. You know, when you start the day like that, it's never really good. But we did recover quite well. So thanks to my mechanics, they did a good job. And then of course, you know what happened in the race. I'm not going to explain in detail what happened, but it's now normally understood and should not happen again. So we will see in the race. But the positive things, even if the results at the end was not there, is that we seem to be more competitive. Although in the race, because in Riyadh we were really far, in Marrakesh we were better, and I thought that in Santiago we were pretty good. So I take the positive out of that weekend, and hopefully this weekend is going to be the one where we manage to put everything together.
Yeah, you haven't qualified outside of the top 3 yet, and your best result is a 6th place. How frustrating is that? Are you still looking at the championship? Do you still have a chance of winning the championship, or is it too early to say?
It's still early. You know, if I would have won the race, I think I would be leading the championship. So you never know. You know, it's still a long way to go. But of course, it's not the perfect start we wished we would have. I just prefer to know that the package is competitive than to have a couple of good results just by luck. You know, I know now that the worst position we qualified was 3rd. And we've been leading the race for a long time in Santiago. That means, you know, the car is competitive. So if the results are not coming now, they'll come soon.
Cool. Thank you. Best of luck for the weekend. Jean Eric, turning to you. A podium in Saudi Arabia to start the season, but then the results haven't quite been there. What do you make of your first 3 races?
It's been a completely difficult beginning of the season. Obviously, Riyadh. The win was possible without the penalty we had. Marrakesh made a mistake. Still, I think, had some fun in the race, coming back 5th. And Santiago was the end of 20 races in a row in the points. So that was the end of it. It was a bit of a shame. I got hit from behind. Don't really know what happened, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. How are you confident you can turn around here? Are you still are you concerned about qualifying here?
No, I'm not really concerned about qualifying. I think here Group 1 should be better. We have a very strong car this year, so you know I'm very pleased with the work the team have done. The only thing I'm concerned here is about the race. You know, this new race format. I don't think it's working very well, this 45 minutes, because now when you have a safety car, you have a double effect. You lose time, so therefore you reduce your number of laps, and then you consume less energy. So what happened is that nearly no drivers now are doing any energy-saving laps. So it means that to overtake, it becomes impossible. So what you're trying is, you know, you're trying even harder, so then you create a crash, and there is, of course, a safety car. So maybe I lost the memo, but I thought, you know, Formula E is all about energy saving, at least, you know, in those years. Maybe in the future it will be different. But I hope it will change, because that's not Formula E anymore. You know, it's like any other kind of series where you go full throttle from the beginning to the race until the end.